Good morning everyone, my name is Anthony Craig and I'm an advocate for West Papuan human rights and democracy, and also I've been an advocate for the rights of people and also against corruption. I've been working on a matter for a number of years. My good friend Shirley Shackleton, a widow of Greg Shackleton, who was murdered by the Indonesian Military invasion of East Timor in 1975. New South Wales Coroner Pinch in 2007 did an inquest into Brian Peters, one of the Balibo Five, who was an Australian and New South Wales resident at the time. But she also invited all the victims' relatives of the Balibo Five to be part of the process. Jurisdiction only applied to Brian Peters under the New South Wales Coroner Act 1980. The matter was investigated and given the documents under camera that the coroner investigated, defence intelligence documents and various other documents, there was prima facie evidence to commence a war crimes investigation or prosecution for the unlawful murder of the Balibo Five. The matter was referred to the Attorney General's office in Canberra. Then it was referred to the Australian Federal Police. After a number of years, the AFP decided to just stop the case. Now, according to their public statements, they decided to do it on their own initiative and not any interference by politicians. Well, I have to argue that we need to have an independent review of the whole judicial process, because given the lack of cooperation and the obstruction that I've had, simply asking for some information and clarifying things for Shirley is unbelievable. Now, I've got documents that I'm going to present now to the New South Wales Police at Lithgow Station to ask them to investigate the matter under the New South Wales Crimes Act, conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. Now, people might laugh about it, but if you've got evidence, then it's not a laughing matter. And if the AFP have corrupt cops, then they need to be held accountable too, especially with the politicians interfered in a criminal investigation. I've also had this matter dealt with in another tribunal as we speak, because they're withholding documents and refusing to provide them, and it's a criminal matter, and they're breaching the law. Now, let's see where this goes, but I'm not going to say no, we're not going to get anything done about it, but I suspect that there'd be a hell of a lot of resistance. There's been resistance of 5 years. 5 years. Everywhere I've turned, people don't want to just answer questions. They just want to cover things up. They want to obstruct justice. They want to make excuses. And everywhere I go, it's just another door shut, closed in my face. Now, the documents I have, which I'm going to present to the New South Wales Police now, Lithgow Police Station, should be enough to say, well, we need to at least look into the matter. Now, if the New South Wales Police doesn't want to take on the AFP, well, that's their business, it's not my problem, but it's a New South Wales crime in relation to a New South Wales resident. Now, the AFP is unable or unwilling to do the correct processes. I've got evidence that they failed to get official request in writing to the Indonesian police. They failed to do an international red notice with Interpol to interview the suspects, Captain Yonis Youssef and Christopher De Silva, who were identified by the New South Wales coroner as serious suspects in a murder investigation. Now, I can't comment too much about why politicians want to do what they do, but politicians can't interfere in a criminal matter. It's illegal, not only at the Commonwealth level, but also at the state level. Now, if the Indonesian politicians don't want to cooperate, well, that's their business. But funny enough, they've signed a extradition treaty with Australia back in 1990s, and it's in force. Now, I'm saying let due process take its course. Let the law take its course, not let politicians run the law. That's why we have so much corruption today, and that's why we need a National Integrity Commission in Australia, urgently. So this matter is going to continue until we get some answers to questions which they refuse to provide. So I'm calling for a judicial review of the Balibo 5 murders investigation conducted by the AFP, and also a full investigation into the actions and conduct of AFP officers in relation to this matter, and what politicians and bureaucrats were involved, and who told who what, and why they're not doing it as per proper legal procedures. And why is a Department of Foreign Affairs officer going to Indonesia and telling Indonesians, don't worry, we're going to deal with this matter and it's all going to go away? That's called political interference in a criminal investigation of murdered Australians by a foreign power, Indonesia. It's not on, and we're going to get to the truth on it, whether they like it or not. So I'm now heading into the police station at Lithgow to hand over the documents. Also, just for people's awareness, if I don't do this, under the New South Wales Crimes Act 1900, section 316, I'm guilty of a criminal offence if I withhold information on a serious indictable offence. So I'm following the law as it is prescribed under New South Wales legislation. It's sad that people can't follow the law who are in political power and in proper processes in serious senior positions in the AFP. So I'm off now to do what I have to do, and we'll see where it goes. Thanks very much. Excuse me.
Too cold? One of the reasons that the name works for